today's show was brought to you by the letter L. L, such a useful letter. It starts words like loser, loss, lambasting, and it doubles up in words like mollywop, lollapalooza, and lickety split, which is how people tend to get their butt whipped. So remember, the next time you're out in, oh, let's think of a state that has an L in it, Alabama. Remember that ass whooping, that L you might be about to take comes to you courtesy of les ancestors, because I had to get that off. Now we'll start the show.
Yeah, you know what time it is. Crack open that bottle of wine. Grab your favorite glass, pour a couple of fingers of scotch in it. Get that stick, light it, and blow. It's time to hang with Steel Sharpened Steel After Dark.
Welcome, everybody. I am Joyce Stevens.
I'm Jermaine Taylor.
I am James Herndon.
And today we are chock full of guest hosts on Steel Sharpened Steel After Dark. And you knew this had to be an After Dark episode because come on. We are going to talk about, hey, everybody, welcome. I just want to say shout out to Tracy Rollins, who was in here before we were. Right, so I'm logging in. I'm uploading stuff like, wait, how does she get commenting? We ain't even started the countdown yet. Anthony, you got to step the game up. Tracy coming for that title, son.
Anthony is normally first.
Anthony
is, yes,
almost always first.
Hey, Vera.
Yes, anyone can get a chair. Y'all know we're about to talk about this for the rest of the night. However, this is a politically oriented show. There are a few things we want to check off before we get into, yes, Anthony, before we get into Aquaman for the win. There's so many things, and we are, congratulations, we are so ready. So Tom is potentially available. Currently, I believe he is hiking somewhere through the islands of Hawaii with his frat brothers. So he may or may not show up, although he will be represented at some point. Now, we also have another guest. What'd you say?
He needs to be careful of the fires out there.
I was thinking that, but he'll be all right. You know, he'll be fine. But I'm assuming that he knows how to stay out of the way of the fire. But our next guest host, actually the Bowmans, Charles and Tommy Cole are joining us here as well. There they are. This topic is so much fun that everybody wanted to get in on this. And so Tommy Cole and Charles, Chuck, welcome.
Can you hear us?
Welcome. Chuck. We can hear you now. Chuck, come in a little bit. I can only see your shoulder.
I can't see them.
That's the best
There they go.
part of me.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to ask you all, I'm going to ask a question of Tommy Cole and Charles. Are y'all somewhere away from your internet connection? Are you in a basement or downstairs or something like that?
Yeah.
Move. Go closer to wherever your connection is, wherever your router is, go get in there. And I'm going to keep an eye on y'all because y'all are very staticky. And so go get a slightly better connection and come on back. But good to see you, Chuck. I'm digging the beard, looking good. Okay. We'll be right back with them in a moment. And so Anthony, actually, yes, Anthony is picking up on what we want to talk about first, which is the former president taking them L's like Bush Bill dropping them Civil War beads on them.
Just on today.
Yes.
Oh, so we're going to jump right into it, yeah?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, so Jack Smith, he's not playing. I mean, I want to keep it clean, but this brother right here, he is pretty much trying to go ahead of the game because we all know that Trump loves to intimidate witnesses. So what he did, he solicited Judge Chutkan for protective orders so that he can't pretty much look at all the evidence that he's going to be exposed to and use it to intimidate people so he can pretty much, stifle their testimony. And she was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. Now, granted, it wasn't sweeping because everything isn't considered sensitive. But for the most part, she said, if you're going to look at any evidence, you can't have any cameras, you can't have any pens, anything that you take notes on, you must be approved. They must be approved by whoever's around you. So he's going to be confiscated of everything. If she gets wind of anything, that if there's been any kind of intimidation, she didn't say whether he was actually going to be in jail, but it was very much in the subtext of the pretty much ruling that she gave. The woman, she pretty much knows who she's dealing with for the most part. She's seen him in other cases, and now he's gone before, the trial and pretty much try to intimidate and stifle people, and she's just not going to put up with it. And I'm just very encouraged to find out that we have somebody who's going to finally take him to task.
Exactly.
Indeed.
I always wonder, people always say, well, can he possibly get jail time? And I'm like, I don't know how that works for a sitting president, a former sitting president, but I know that there will be, from what I was getting from listening to the hearings, that there will be some sort of a punishment if he were to leak anything that was, he was exposed to as a way of the indictment.
If
so,
you really, so to your point about jail time, I don't care if he goes to jail or not, but if you really understand the psyche of a person like Trump, him being told by someone that he considers less than him what to do is the worst thing you could ever tell him.
Right.
And the fact that it is a non-white, non-male person telling him to sit down and shut the hell up.
Yeah.
He's so aggravated. Go ahead.
I have two things. Like one, I mean, you mentioned the pens, like he can't have any writing tools. We already know that he doesn't write anything because he struggles to read and comprehend with any intelligence level beyond that of a fifth grader.
Right.
So, I mean,
well, she had to break it down in layman's terms, James, because just on this week, he was ranting on his, what is it, Truth Social? I've never
True Social.
Just going talking about Pelosi out of all things. I'm like, what does Pelosi have to do with anything that's going on? And pretty, what was that one thing he said? If you're coming after me, I'm coming after you.
Yeah, the thing is, he is still in 2016 campaign mode.
Right.
He thinks the same jargon. This is the other point about not being creative, about not having interesting and intelligent people around you, is he's surrounded, and even the people that used to rock with him have started jumping ship like rats as well. So he's only left with people that are scared to tell him anything that he doesn't want to hear, which means he's regurgitating. Nobody cares about Pelosi anymore. He's still regurgitating no sleepy Joe Biden, bruh. That ship has sailed.
We passed that
and
already.
sunk. So he just doesn't know how to move on. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sick of hearing witch hunt. If I hear witch hunt one more time, I swear to God, it's like a drinking game. Yeah. So, so that was pretty much today's news and L's.
Chan, this is a good question. Why is Georgia taking so long? I think it's strategic. I think they're trying to do the kind of things that are going to keep him keep him from having conflicts, and then they're going to spring these one after the other. And they're starting like top down. So since Georgia is a state issue, they're going to probably look at that after they've done some of this federal level stuff. But please believe Georgia is coming. They're sitting there like, put me in the game, coach. But it's not for lack of evidence or for lack of preparation. It's just a timing thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a wait and see process to see how this current case unfolds. And then they can build upon that, using that as groundwork.
Oh, Suki.
Look at him.
There they are.
Back. So I'd like to introduce to you all Chuck Bowman and Tommy Cole Bowman, the married intellectuals, and they are here as well too.
I didn't know that's what we were. Okay, good. Good to know.
They blend right in with our unique form of classy, bougie, ratchet, intelligent discourse. You never know what you're gonna get.
Classy, bougie, ratchet. Kind of ratchet. I'm seeing like degrees and all these beautiful accolades on the wall, so I'm not seeing anything of ratchet.
Don't let the degrees fool you.
Yeah, and you can't see my folding chair. It's right here. I keep my folding chair ready.
Okay.
Right. So the folding chair stay on lock.
I mean, absolutely.
I mean,
yeah. And yet, CJ, wait, Chuck, were you class of 95?
No, class
96. 96. So they the youngins. Right.
Okay. Wow.
99.
Well, okay, so James is what are you, class of 97?
No. I mean, I'm class of 95 in high school.
Wow, you trying to say we old?
No, you just got a couple of years on me. 4, 5.
Are we talking high school or college?
College. They're
Yeah,
talking
so
college.
I'm class of 95 college. He's class of 95 high school.
Okay.
Mhm.
So these are no 5-year plan, people. You guys are obviously 4-year plans because I was on a 5.
I was on a 5. I graduated in 96, but I claimed 95 because that's what my people at. Mhm. But it's all family. We all up in here.
Yeah.
Black and
When
educated.
you finish, it's just the point that you finish. That's all that matters.
Absolutely.
That's all that matters.
That's all we've ever cared about is did you finish? That's it.
Yep. Yeah. Did you done? Okay, good. Let's move on.
A degree
Right.
is a degree.
I got a sheepskin. It's at my mama's house, though.
You say your sheepskin's at the mama's house?
My sheepskin's at my mama's house.
Well, so back to Trump. So Tom, who is not here, put this in and said, "You've heard of Elf on the Shelf? Get ready for hater on a grater."
Hater on a grader. Okay,
It's appropriate.
I can get with that.
Wow.
Okay, Tom is
So-
playing games and he's not even here.
Yo, Tom came ready. Even though he's in Hawaii right now, Tom is loaded up. So much stuff. So we're getting the politics and the serious things out of the way. Kind of like eat your vegetables first, so we can get into Cherapalooza in a moment. A couple other things that I wanted to talk about. I'm gonna just throw this out here because I am single, and this is for all the single women. I want all the single women who are listening or watching to remember that Justin Trudeau and his wife are separating.
I did hear that on the news earlier this week. I was like, okay. Super sexy prime minister is like, yeah, I'm out on the market now, y'all. So come on, get it.
Look.
Justin been out here setting thirst traps since 2010, I believe.
Yes, he has.
I have a PSA for Mr. Trudeau, the same PSA that went out to Steph Curry's dad. Stay out these streets. You are of a certain age. These streets ain't for you.
When I tell you that's going to ensure his election next, whatever he runs for, he's got it. He's a shoe-in.
I'm sure it will.
Campaign endorsement right there, because they are going to be lining up just to vote for him now.
As I've learned from an old 70s sitcom, it's cheaper to keep her.
Look,
I just
please
think
understand
it's going to be a
that
whole different
I will
dimension.
drive to Toronto and stay with my girl Shalene. Shout out to Shalene.
I think now that he's single, it's going to be a whole different dimension of the expression "fuck around and find out." I think it's a whole different dimension of that expression right now. You're going to see a whole different side of it.
I mean,
Was
So,
it one of
for the
those
streets, you're going to fuck around and find out. You're going to find out.
Mhm.
That is going to be
Was
the
it any
shirt of the
reconcilable
year.
difference, or was somebody stepping out? Like, do we know the basis of this divorce, or was it just?
We don't care.
Oh,
Women don't care. The
We
women
give
really
zero
don't
damns.
care.
Zero damns. Say, hey, right? Look, hey, Justin, voulez-vous coucher avec moi? For all of y'all that's about to tell me I'm going to hell, I know that.
you got beachfront property there.
I got Lake of Firefront property in
Oh
hell.
my gosh.
It's a condo. I'm gonna call it Hell B&B.
Oh goodness, there are friends who can fix the AC for you.
All my friends are down there. I'm not sure what this is about, but Elaine says if you want to laugh, put Fonnie Willis in the search bar for Amazon because folks are super creative. So next time you go on Amazon, what was this?
Bonnie Willis.
Really, CJ?
Oh, CJ.
Really, CJ?
I'm here for it.
CJ, go take a cold shower and come back.
It's quite apropos.
Yes. Oh, Canada.
And he shall be.
So moving on from the people that I want to
Mount.
moving on from saying I'm going to say something crass, but it works. Moving on from saying I want to fuck that guy to just fuck that guy. DeSantis is acting a whole ass down.
Well, first of all,
when is he not?
Clarify, it's not an act. He is an ass.
Yeah.
So there's that.
There's that.
Right.
And it's going to this real extreme about everything. But to bring it closer to home, they're right now trying a case of a teacher in Cobb County to determine whether or not they're going to revoke her contract because she read a book to a class that was sold in the school at the book fair.
Mm-hmm.
She read the book. It talked about gender nonconformity and questioning. And so they're talking about revoking her certificate and firing her. Breaking her contract.
So let me explain to y'all like what, if you remember the book, which has been banned from time to time, 1984. If you remember that book, one of the things that happens is like it's an original like gaslighting story where one of the main protagonists is told over and over again, you can trust me, I'm on your side, tell me what you really think, blah, blah, blah. Here's something that, you know, I want you to do. And then that person does it. And they're like, haha, I knew you would do it. And now you're going to jail and you're going to be. So all of this whole bait and switch thing to sell a book at the book fair and then have her be fired for reading a book that they sold at the book fair and not having any repercussion for the people that sold the book. All of that is wrong. And all of this is a witch hunt. I mean, I really don't want to say that because Trump is running into the ground. But at the same time, remember that this is the same country that literally set women on fire for doing things like thinking, creating aspirin.
But what is the timeline of her teaching this, reading from this book? Was it prior to everything that's in place now? Or did she do this afterwards? Like, was she being defiant? Like, what was the timeline of this?
It happened after all this came down, but when it came down, all of it was so nebulous. Like there was no definitive list of here's the thing, and the list was updated constantly, which is why they were selling the book because they didn't know that they couldn't sell it, and she didn't know she couldn't read it. And all of a sudden, you in trouble.
Because it all seems very murky as to what they can step into.
It is.
It's designed to be ambiguous on purpose to set them up to try to figure out who's going to be bold enough to push the boundaries of where the line is. So.
But yet there's
I don't even know that's about being able to set the boundaries or identify who's going to push the boundaries of the line. It's really about being able to move the line whenever you want to adjust and say, like. This is who we want to
get rid of.
We want to punish, get rid of, and we'll let the other one slide. Because I'm sure if you were to canvass teachers across the district, somebody else read that book to their class.
Right.
There's nobody's child went home and said anything such that the issue was raised. Because I'm like, why is the principal testifying about? I want you. It's that okay? Great, y'all are in a great position because y'all have uber high salaries, and so you can get teachers just by waving something out the door. But
I would be questioning every piece of historical curriculum that I have ever put across my classroom right now if I was in freaking Florida.
And that's the point. And remember that this country is going more and more to the super rich and everybody else being poor. Yeah. Most teachers, and I would hazard to say 98% of teachers that are active, especially in the state of Florida, are broke as fuck. Right? Yeah. They broke. So they cannot afford to play with their salary, which means they're going to be hyper vigilant. And if it so much as says the word African American in it, they won't take it.
Yeah. They're not going to answer questions.
That's a tightrope from hell.
Right. Meanwhile,
To Kill a Mockingbird would never be taught again.
Bastard is out there trying to tell people. Matter of fact, Jermaine, I think you shared this with me. I wasn't able to pull all the images, but they're trying to reimagine Black history or history as a whole for elementary school students by telling them stuff like, and they've contracted with a super conservative Christian group that says things like, man and a woman is the way it's supposed to be, and everything else is wrong. And more than anything else, they're coming up with this nonsense saying that slavery benefited Black people because it taught them useful trades. And so immediately I was like, I know you fucking lying.
But it got really, really specific as to what they're trying to indoctrinate their children with. There was a piece, a couple of anime, because it's an animation, guys, so it's very appealing to a young child. Encouraging girls to smile. Yes. Encouraging women to wear frilly clothes and look extremely frilly and uber feminine. That is
Prager University.
Men, it's okay to be hard and do this, and women stay home and see after the family, yada yada yada. It's like a playbook from the 50s. You know, it's like a manual to live in.
They used to have those manuals in
Yes,
the 50s.
they
Like,
did.
women, just make
But that's
sure
what
that
they
you
want
don't
us
say
back
anything
in.
to your. Say what?
That's where they want us back. They want
Mm-hmm.
control back. So that's where the last time they felt they had control. So let's go back there. Let's reinstate those rules and those laws to put
Mhm.
everybody in their place so that we
Mhm.
can
But
get
that's
our
enough to
power and our
even-
majority back.
Yeah, The
But even
Handmaid's Tale
white
is looking
women
more and
are
more like
triggered
an
by it.
active documentary in real
Yes.
time.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm.
It
I miss
really
what you
is.
said.
Somehow it's gonna fly because I feel like even white women that are even moderate, that would trigger them. I mean, women just aren't walking around smiling nowadays. They got shit on their minds, and what they're trying to instill in this generation is just. I feel it's like the antithesis of women within their own reach. It's really weird to me what they're aiming for.
Mhm.
But it's
I don't
weird
think-
to see
I
the
don't have
amounts of
respect for
women
it.
that are actually purporting
For
and
this,
advancing
yeah.
this kind of thinking.
Well,
Really?
the reason you see that so often, especially amongst white women of a certain age, is that their solution for their own safety is to side with their oppressor. If you're any psychologist will tell you, if there's a bully in the room, the safest place to be is beside them or behind them. And so that's where white women tend to be, beside or behind, sometimes urging on. Because if you are in a position where you are having to Stockholm yourself to your own oppressor, then what joy do you have in life? No pun intended. You get that oppressor to oppress other people, hence the white woman tears, hence the calling of the police every time they get, hence the Karenisms of let me talk to your manager. They have no control in their own homes, so they exert that out in society because that's how they get off on it. And there's some level of people of color that do that too. We know them because we tell them traitors, looking at you, Candace, and so every group has that,
I just don't have much faith in stuff like that because, like I've expressed to you, Joy, on a number of occasions, the history that I know about us, especially the darkest parts of our history, it was never learned in the classroom to begin with. So I feel like, yeah, what they're doing is good, well, and fine. But the minute that they're exposed to what the world is really like, it's going to pretty much confuse them. And therein lies the real education. So I feel like it's more of a signaling because I just don't feel like it has any lasting effects. Do you guys feel that way? Or am I just being happily optimistic? I don't know.
I think there's definitely a piece of that in it that they are trying to, but I think what they're doing is trying to, as my wife said, restore a sense of control, but they're also trying to create their own bubble and this whole sense of, I don't even know what the real word is for it because it's so grotesque, but they're trying to create their own cosmology and approach to the world so that they feel safe, they feel secure, and they feel in control. We didn't really learn about these things in traditional school anyway. Most of us got our cultural, heretical sense of self, whether it was when we were in college, and even some of our colleges and universities didn't directly teach it. It was just what we were exposed to, parenthetically. So we came to understand those things. It just has to become a greater urgency within and through our community to make sure that those stories, that information, that history is shared. And we have to do all that we can to impart that to our children in our homes.
And it's not being shared like our parents and grandparents shared with us. We have 2 college students, one in her doctorate, one in his undergrad. And our undergrad is at an HBCU, and he's baffled at what his peers don't know about African-American history, about Black history. If it's not thug rap, they don't know it. They don't know the books. They haven't read, I Know Why the Cage Birds Sing. They don't know the authors. They don't know anything. They're learning stuff for the first time in college, and only because they have to. And so if DeSantis and the government succeeds in removing that even from our collegiate, they'll never know it.
Well, to expand on that, let's remember that only 15 to 20% of Black America goes to college.
That's
So if they don't even go, they're never going to see this. And then you have these false intellectuals who have no real understanding of the history of the slavery in this country and what it has done and why it is still having lasting effects on our demographic, our population. And they start spitting this stuff like, oh, Black women need to learn to be obedient again. It's not real like white people. Black men need to stop, need to learn to be hard again and to take control and something about babies and broccoli. Like, it's all really fucking silly, right? Yeah. But they don't know that there's more to learn, because where are they going to get it from? And remember, all of us, regardless of the fact that we now know more and have a better base of knowledge about our own history, all of us grew up hearing, what did you get for Black History Month in elementary school? Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King, and that was about it. Yeah. If you went to a progressive school named after Frederick Douglass, you might have gotten him too.
Or George Washington Carver.
Yeah. Or George Washington Carver. Yeah, we got peanuts, stop signs. What else did we? What else? The light bulb filament.
Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks.
Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. And you never heard about
X. He's 40.
Yeah, I grew up in Mississippi.
Black Panthers. Wait, hang on. Most people think that the Black Panthers was some sort of hyper-violent militant group because that's what society has told them. When actually, when I tell people, and I do this in the classes that I teach, when I tell them that the Black Panthers started the free lunch program,
it was a service organization.
What? They did something positive. They were never on the steps to try to take over the government. They were on the steps to let you know we don't need you and your police in here. And most of the gangs and most of the civic organizations that started in the 60s were a response to police brutality. And this is the stuff they don't want you to know. They want you to just think Black people are just hyper violent, and we're not. The only people that keep using violence to get what they want is white people.
White folks.
Yeah. I grew up in the
Mississippi. It's in the Ukraine. It's in the Ukraine. Okay, sorry.
I grew up in southern Mississippi. And I say Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, because, they may say a little bit about each, but every year in high school during Black History Month, there was a fight between the races because some white person always had to say there was only Martin or there was only Rosa. There's nobody else in history. Mm-hmm. It never failed. Every year there was a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
I've heard sitting senators say things like, what has anybody ever done for this country other than white people? Sir, y'all don't even know how to grow rice or cotton or get rid of kudzu or vaccinate yourselves until we got here.
But there was a time in our history of this country where that narrative was very easy to put out there and stick. Yeah. We're not there anymore. We don't have then we didn't have the microphone, but now that we do, and we're a lot more aware, we're a lot more vocal, and people are paying attention to us. I think it came by way of appropriation. Yeah. People trying to copycat it. They're like, well, what is this all about? So they started learning more about it. But, when they could get that narrative out there, they did, and it lasted for a long time. And now the script has just flipped. Mm-hmm. And this is my thing, is I feel like they've just done this incredible job of stripping themselves of their own culture, because I don't think they really have one.
They don't.
It's their agenda now to strip everybody else's of theirs.
Mm-hmm. Right. So you're absolutely right. The idea and the concept, because it's all it is a concept of construct of white and Black didn't exist before the transcontinental slave trade, because before that you were South Sudan, you were Nigerian, you were from the you were French, you were English, you were British, you were Dutch, you were the country of your origin. It wasn't until all of those countries started to enslave all of the African countries that they just simplified it to white and Black. You can blame the Portuguese for that. And I think it's really interesting that now that we have this social hierarchy in the United States, that the Portuguese, and by extension the Spanish that developed this whole Black and white thing, are not considered white half the time. Blame yourself, so that's what you get. And CJ's right, they've never had a culture, because there is no white culture, but there is a Black culture, because we were so forced into creating a Black American culture through survival, where white people could still be white, but then also say, well, I can trace my lineage back to Ireland or Wales or what have you. They can still do that. And we were like, we don't know anything, because they purposefully kept us from knowing our own racial history or
so our oral history, our tales, our fables, all of that just washed away.
And Elaine, this is a great point. The diminution of the Black press is a great loss to our community. Ida B. Wells, absolutely, she called it. And that's one of the things, like we think that a lot of our Black historical figures are prophetic, so to speak, but they're not. They're just paying attention.
Yeah.
You know, Maya Angelou was paying attention. Octavia Butler, who's a Black sci-fi writer, paying attention. James Baldwin, paying attention.
Yeah.
Hugely
and
so.
that gets us to the issue of, you know, whether or not you are woke. You know, that phrase has been around since the 30s because it started with the jazz musicians who used to do the Chitlin circuit. You got to go through sundown territory. So the idea of don't let them catch you sleeping, don't let them catch you sleeping, they're woke. That's all it was. And now white people are on a tear against it. And
to go back to that point that you were making about DeSantis that opened this up, where they even have a crusade in the state about anti-woke. We don't want wokeism or being woke taught in our schools. We don't want the idea. I was like, no, don't be alive.
But that's beginning to sour even in his base and, you know, within the Republican establishment, because they're saying that it's becoming the death of him. It's just too much woke in his campaignness. You know, he's not really focusing on issues. He's being very targeted and specifically targeted towards us. And people are being turned off about it. If you want to pretty much just substitute woke, just say the N-word if you really want to get serious with it.
Go ahead.
And that's all it is. It's just a new replacement for the N-word because
there's always a replacement.
So
absolutely.
Because like no other
degenerate, but now it's woke. So this is where we are right now. And for Florida,
he can't.
He thinks that he can say what he wants to say, do what he wants to do, and regardless of who it offends, that his circle of supporters is big enough and they're going to stand by him regardless.
Are the Cubans
and his own state don't like him?
Nah, his state don't like him at all.
Are the Cubans identifying with
why do they keep voting him back into office?
The Cubans,
because the elections are rigged.
Angle? If you guys don't mind me asking, what is the Cubans' angle into this narrative? Like, what do they find? What resonates with them as to what he's saying? That's the disconnect that I'm having. Do you guys have an answer for that?
Yes. What I just tell you about the whole Latin community. So the Cubans find themselves appearing and presenting as white. And historically, remember, Cuba is another country. Historically, they have been white in their country. And because of the oppression of people of color all over the place, the lighter skinned Cubans were the ones that could make it to the United States and are very prevalent in Southern Florida. And they still have the mentality of, we are just as good as the white people in this country. You know, and so they believe erroneously that they got here the right way, the same way most Europeans immigrated to this country. They didn't have any green card, they didn't have any papers, they were refugees, etc. And then they came here and started a business and started paying taxes like everybody else. But all of a sudden, when the melanin level reaches a critical point, they want to say, oh, you're doing it the wrong way because you don't look like me. And a lot of Cubans, a lot of Colombians, a lot of Brazilians, even though Brazil has the second largest African population by DNA in the world, more than the US. But Brazilians will still try that shit too. And colorism is a real thing. So what?
Argentinians will. I used to do a show at this theater in New York called Repertorio Español, and it was an Argentinian-based theater company. And I had no idea of the colorism within the Argentinian race until I started working with them. I mean, they're critical of even the Spanish that other people speak besides Argentinian. So I just had no idea of that whole hierarchy of colorism within, the Latin population until I started working with that theater group. So it was very real.
It's not just the Latin.
You think ours is intense? Oh,
what's that?
Theirs is at a whole other level.
Yeah.
You think our colorism and our internal caste system within our culture is intense? Oh, they take it to a whole other level.
Oh, yes, they do.
They will hide children that are too dark to be part of the family.
Yeah.
They had problems with the last Black Panther. Remember that indigenous storyline that they had?
Oh yeah, they didn't have no part of that.
They were like
they didn't like Namor.
Nope.
They didn't like Namor. They thought he was too dark.
It took popular opinion for them to come around.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, they were like, no, not at all. Yeah.
Elaine, girl with these long comments, I told you. So Elaine's comment, Cubans are in the majority in Miami and they don't think they need anyone else. This is very true. They're only minorities when they need help. And I've seen this personally when I've tried to reach out to people of Cuban and Puerto Rican, I'm not letting them off the hook neither, descent, and was told, I don't need this because I did everything myself and I achieved all this on my own until my company started laying people off. Then they come to me, we got to stick together. Girl, fuck you. So that's the 5th F-bomb I've dropped tonight. There will be more.
Yeah, I think it's more than 5, but nobody's counting.
Nah.
So one thing I want to get back to. So y'all got to understand, during the week, me and Jermaine and Tom be cutting up on Facebook Messenger, just doing some nonsense. And so we came up with a response, and we're going to call it, I'm going to go back to call it the I Know You Fucking Lying series, where, DeSantis is out here talking about, sharing, to his point, sharing what good things Black people got from slavery. Now, when you really understand the movie Get Out was about slavery, you realize only somebody who assumed you didn't have any marketable skills would think that they knew better what to do with your body than you do. That's why Get Out was about slavery. But we were like, well, let's think about what kind of things could we have learned from white people during slavery. Maybe we learned how to swim, maybe
we don't know how to swim.
Stretching, little
stretching.
Planking there, choreography.
Yeah.
Gotta keep it on the 1, 2. The original social distancing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Pilates. A lot of flexibility there. In addition to chiropractic practices, really understanding how to get a good back crack like you need. And let's not forget farming. So, these are just some of the things.
What about that really graphic one that I came up with now?
You know what? I couldn't. I just couldn't.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, there was one where we had it. I was like, all right, we doing the most with this.
We don't want to turn our audience off.
Send me that later.
Come on, do the most. Do the most. Do it. Do it.
No, I'm not.
No, not here. Not here.
Yeah, not here.
We want
to
show
you need to send it to me then. I want to see it.
Look.
I'll send it to y'all. I will tell you about it. It was, the picture of the dude with the crisscross of marks on his back.
Yes.
We were like, that's the original GPS. And I was like,
No.
So you see, I was like,
yeah.
I love, I love my people. You know how many comments I got? Send it to me.
I see you, CJ. I see you.
Wait, what does it say? When you look at the people, Cuba since the Olympics, those left on the mainland are just as dark as us. White, yes. Mm-hmm. Sammy Sosa.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore. Not anymore. Sammy Sosa bleaches his skin now.
Yeah. Skin bleaching is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Skin bleaching is bigger than diamonds.
Yeah.
Because diamonds are for an elite set of people. You got to have a lot of money to get diamond. Anybody with $20 in their pocket can get a bottle of skin bleaching cream.
Skin bleaching cannot bleach your DNA. So when that baby pop out, it's still gonna be dark.
You're right about that.
Sammy don't even like looking at his old highlights because of how dark he is in them.
Right.
Yeah.
That is what we did learn from slavery, not to sleep. What is it? Yes, and this is exactly so. When you hate yourself, you go out of your way to prove to other people that you are not a member of the group that you are a member of, which is why
that was really the ultimate goal of what slavery. But that was the ultimate goal of slavery and its subjugation, to teach you to hate yourself, so that you would then take on the oppression of the oppressor, and they wouldn't have to do it anymore. You would do it yourself.
It's one of the reasons that they hate things like Black power, Black pride. I love my skin, I love my hair, because if we learn to love ourselves, then we don't need them anymore for validation. And it's not that they want us to, they don't want us to thrive and be equal. They want us to stand there and take their disdain. So when they see us, that's why they're doing this move, like don't teach Black history, don't allow for Black sororities and fraternities, don't allow Black people to have DE&I and have like Black ERGs at work. Don't let them have anything where they are safe in their own space, because then who do we have to make us feel better about ourselves? The issue is they have never liked themselves either.
Sure.
Nope.
But they've had the power to subjugate the rest of us. Like most bullies, they have their own self-esteem issues, and so they take it on other people, and they've had the power and the money to do it for 400 years. But now whenever we did get a little bit of money and power, one of the reasons they burned so many Black cities was not because, we got to stop these Black people from gaining wealth, etc. It's because they were jealous.
Yeah.
Watch the movie Rosewood. They talk about this specifically, how they didn't like the fact, not only were we riding in fancy cars for the time, and remember, not Rosewood, what was it? Greenwood in Oklahoma and Tulsa, they had their own airport and theater at a time where most people didn't have 2 nickels to go to the movies. And so we did get uppity. And we started acting like we don't need y'all. We got our own thing going. We good. And we're doing it again. When Barack became president, they realized, oh my God, they have achieved what they've always wanted, which is being able to tell us what to do. If you listen to a lot of the things that Republicans had problems with Barack, it wasn't about his policy. He was taking their policies and saying, let's compromise. And their thing was, this N-word is not going to tell me what to do.
Right. Mm-hmm. And he's literally regurgitating the things that
they wanted to do. Right.
Yeah. I did a deep dive not too long ago. Do you guys know how many Black communities are currently underwater?
Something.
Huh?
How many?
Almost 100. It's almost 100.
But there are a lot of Black communities that are like literally underwater.
Yes. Right here in Georgia, Lake Lanier is a good one.
Even in California.
Yeah, matter of fact, right here, just northeast of Atlanta is Lake Lanier. We've been telling people lately, if you watch my Facebook post, we've been talking about Lake Lanier being haunted for generations because they flooded a Black town to make the lake. And people come up missing in that lake all the time. Some people got electrocuted in there. That lake is huge. Electric charge was dissipated.
Last week.
Yeah, folks be dying. I'm like, the ancestors come. When I die, since I don't have any kids, I want to be cremated. I want my ashes spread across Lake Lanier so I can continue to fight with the ancestors and haunt the shit out of anybody that stepped foot in that lake. You're gonna get some.
Literally, almost every man-made lake in a southern state was probably 99% a Black town that existed at some point.
Anytime they built a dam,
thank you, CJ, for always pointing out. Yes, New York City too.
Yes,
Central Park.
Central Park was a Black community.
They had their own church.
This whole narrative that we've never been good financially, we've never had practical capitalism skills. All of that was developed as a result of them tearing everything that we built up. Wow.
Yeah. Kicking us out, tearing it down, burning it to the ground, flooding it, and then sticking us in the projects and the ghetto.
And
then saying we're lazy and we can't do anything.
And then telling us that we've never done anything and we're so lazy we don't want to work, etc.
And then building highways to separate us from the rest of the resources and opportunities in the city.
So we're gonna get off of this depressing. We're gonna move on to something I know y'all been waiting on. So since we're talking about Black history and everything, we're gonna get into this Alabama brawl. I believe this is my favorite picture of it all. And so I'm going to take a moment because I told y'all Tom wasn't here, but he did leave us with something.
Oh, no.
That I think fits really well. Where is it? So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you. Wait, let me make sure I get this right. I got something I'm supposed to do here. Here's it go. Where is it? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Montgomery Island.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a racist mob that drunkenly attacked a man who was just doing his job. The goon squad started throwing hands, they thought they were okay, but ancestors called from on high, Satan not today, Satan not today. The village came from far and wide, from land and sea and air, but the knuck and buckest of them all swung a wide folding chair, a wide folding chair. They started handing warrants out while ancestors just smiled, with Harriet, Nat Turner too, Malcolm X and MLK, with Aquaman. If you fuck around, you'll find out here in Montgomery.
have you come.
That
I didn't know there was harmony until now. When I heard it earlier, I didn't hear the harmony.
So
yeah, that's him over and over again. Because Tom got skills when it comes to this media sensation thing.
So can I say that when all of this was going down originally, ironically enough, I was at a friend's house watching a WWE wrestling event. And yet the only weapon they didn't use the entire night through 8 matches was a chair.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, all the chairs in Alabama getting used.
Target is currently sold out of white folding chairs because we don't know how to act.
I was watching the wrong SummerSlam Saturday night, apparently, because I woke up Monday morning to like 30 missed messages and like 18 of them were memes.
It was Sunday for me. I was
like,
what is
I
happening?
started seeing it Saturday.
Yeah.
And I wasn't quite sure, but by Sunday, I was like, whoa.
Yeah. I kept seeing hashtag Riverboat. I was like,
Right.
I've heard it. I've heard it.
Yes, you can belt one out. Go ahead and hit us with that new national.
I can't get through without laughing. So I just
right. But for those of you that don't know, it does start with lift every chair and swing. And it just goes on from there.
Oh my gosh. Needless to say, if you're on Facebook Monday, you probably got no work done.
No.
At all.
Let's get into it, shall we? So the first thing I saw was the Martin Luther King. I was like, what the hell?
Really? That was the first thing you saw.
That was the
I
first
saw
thing I
that
saw.
later in the week.
No, the video was the first thing I saw.
Well, yeah.
I saw the entire video.
The first thing I saw was the chair, and I didn't understand it. Somebody was like, "Girl," because remember I was on vacation in Turks and Caicos when this all went down. So I'm waking up like, "What?" And I saw that somebody sent me the chair, like, "Ha ha!" And I was like, "I don't get it." And they started showing it. So then, of course, you had all the other memes, and I'm gonna try and get one of the other videos that came out. First off, we were talking about, Black history and the people that we know, and Malcolm X, et cetera, et cetera. So Malcolm said this.
Should other Black men help that particular person who was attacked?
I think you'll find, sir, that there will come a time when Black people wake up and become intellectually independent enough to think for themselves, as other humans are intellectually independent enough to think for themselves. Then the Black man will think like a Black man, and he will feel for other Black people. And this new thinking and feeling will cause Black people to stick together. And then at that point, you'll have a situation where when you attack one Black man, you are attacking all Black men. And this type of Black thinking will cause all Black people to stick together. And this type of thinking also will bring an end to the brutality inflicted upon Black people by white people. And it is the only thing that will bring an end to it. No federal court, state court, or city court will bring an end to it. It's something that the Black man has to bring an end to himself.
Yes.
That's
And
true.
that, my people, is how you got this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People,
mean,
people
it was
putting out playlists. One of the Montgomery Gall Black D-Ho. Look it up. It's on Spotify.
Yeah.
Gosh.
He developed a
Nothing you
whole
buck
playlist.
and never scared. Yes.
Some folks saying this is the new Black flag outside for your house.
I hadn't seen this one.
This really got me going. And of course, there was this one, like a whole moment in memes or in
Yes.
emojis.
Mm-hmm.
And
This one.
actually, James sent me this earlier.
Yep.
Fades giving crew. And I saw one this morning. I was like, remember the cat and the white woman? This was my favorite. You said Black people can't swim. Shit surprised me.
Me too.
It was just packed with so much subtlety and just symbolism, that whole entire brawl. It's like everything about it was just, it harkened back to, like Black people couldn't swim. You saw this brother swimming across the damn river.
Mm-hmm.
Aquaman. Mm-hmm.
What was it?
the
The
sad
fact that they
part
were on
about
a
it
boat
all-
called Harriet.
Wait, Jermaine, and then Tommy.
I said, the fact that they were on a boat called Harriet. You know what I'm saying? It was like so much symbolism was just packed
Absolutely.
into it. somebody just had to, you would thought somebody would have written it,
Mm-hmm.
And that to me was just really, really telling. Like this event was just pretty much designed to galvanize us in the way that it did. I can't but thank the ancestors and the creators, because it seemed like it was just ordained to me.
I don't know. I mean, as much as I don't necessarily ordain any kind of violence, and I try to be level-headed. The brother who swung the chair, it built up. It was just I can't.
There was an older gentleman too. Like I want to say he was probably late 50s, maybe even early 50s. He remembered.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he remembers some stuff.
Like he might have caught a lick or two in the original march up in Selma, and he's like, and remember that time?
But if you think about it,
see, here's the thing about the guy with the chair. The guy with the chair, he was fine up until he hit the white woman who was already on the ground and pretty much out of it. If he had swung at anybody else, he may have been fine, because the cops pretty much let them like, go ahead, get him. But the moment he hit the white woman who was already down, it was like, damn it, we got to arrest you now.
Yeah,
but
we
kind of
got to
rough
you
up
a little bit.
There's
So you make a good point, James. Matter of fact, I had this discussion with some people earlier today. Like, though, when we talk about white privilege, it's not really about money and wealth and power. It's about you thinking that you can fuck around and not have to find out, that you don't have any consequences for your actions, that you can act with immunity and impunity. And that is absolutely, that's 9, absolutely 10, not true. Okay. So one of the things that I thought was really interesting is they said, all these folks are figuring it out now. And to his point, we ain't having it no more. So I'm going to show y'all a different video, because I'm sure you've all seen the whole chair side area. This is video.
Before you show the video, Joy, it's the videos is the reason why the Black people, we're not in jail, because we were the first one they started arresting and, putting the zip ties on. If we had not have recorded this, there was an assumption that we started it all.
Yeah.
Let me catch up. You know what? Y'all out here cutting up from the River Tribe in Wakanda.
I saw a list of names.
I was on the phone. Wow, really?
Aquaman is Shaquille O'Neal.
What? Shaquille O'Neal? Wait, CJ, is this true that they were doing a reunion? That would explain why the old man was out there.
Wow.
And that's what I wanted to get at. Is like white people never have to be aware of their surroundings. I see it all the time in big and little ways. It's them coming off the escalator and standing at the bottom because they don't give a damn about other people trying to get off the goddamn escalator and they're in the way. It's them just pausing to do something. It's them reaching past you when you're in line at the checkout. It's them going past you when you're waiting for your table at a restaurant because they just have a quick question. I saw it when I was in Turks and Caicos, and I love that this is a Black ass island, and this little woman just came up. I am trying to check out. We're trying to get stuff together. We got a whole bunch of things going on. She just comes up, excuse me, can you order me a taxi? And the woman says, I'm sorry, but you'll have to wait until I'm available. And then quit looking at her. And you can huff all you want, bitch. I'm here first. And because I knew that this woman would probably get like some negative reviews, I took matters in my own hands. And I said, you know what? It doesn't take long to be polite. And then she kind of backed off because I do weigh over 200 pounds. I am a 5'7", solid Black woman. You don't want this smoke, little girl. Really don't. And my whole face was, bitch, I wish you would.
You were gassed up from the Montgomery.
Right. I'm over here in the Turks, but did you hear what happened in Montgomery? Because it's about to happen here too.
I need a chair.
I need you to know. And I'm going to show something completely different. This is not related to Montgomery at all. But when the thing that Malcolm said about Black people being sick and tired of being sick and tired and all of us and how we're about to rise up and that basically the revolution will not be televised, but it will be recorded. This is something actually Willie D of Ghetto Boys fame in Houston found this recording. I'm not sure where it comes from. If anybody knows where this is from, please let me know. Let me show you this real quick.
This man is a song.
Oh, Sharkeisha! Oh my God, Sharkeisha!
One more time. So I'm gonna tell you what happened. For context, the witnesses around there said that they got into an altercation. Of course, it was just words for a moment, and then he spit on her and slapped her in the face, and then
she responded.
I'm trying to get it to play again. Why you cutting up?
Oh, Sharkeisha! Oh my God, Sharkeisha!
What did he think
So
was going to happen?
This man is a
perfected as the Black community is an open-handed slap. We know how to make it count.
Yeah.
And she made that count.
She did. And I just, look, I get it. He's old enough to have lived through the parts where, you know, his heyday was oppressing us.
Yeah.
And zero consequences. Like, you can still get away with lying on us just from being across the street and have us arrested because we fit the description, or you looked at me the wrong way. He's still in that mindset. So the fact that he thought that he could turn around and walk away with zero consequence, he caught the right one that day.
Yeah.
And he's lucky that he wasn't facing her, because his nose would have been bloody from that swing.
Yeah, miracle ear appointment on deck. But Vera, the point here. So that was R.C. Hatch High School was having their 1975 reunion.
That's
and
why
that's who all. I saw a bunch of purple and gold shirts and videos, and I was like,
I did too, because I was like,
yes.
Yeah.
Now, if it had been the Qs, it'd have been a whole different ball game.
Okay.
Yeah, the Qs, they run with gold boots, and they'd have been stomping people out.
Yeah.
There would have been a step show on that deck.
So a couple other videos I wanted to show you real quick around, because again, I got stuff on deck here. So the next one I want to show, wait, I got to get it together. I was supposed to do this earlier. The screen, and then where is it? This one. There we go. Hang on.
In the water.
Let's see if I can start it over.
Fade in the water. Fade in the water. Children, fade in the water. Montgomery, grown and troubled, the water. Folding chairs, here and there, everywhere. We ain't never scared. We knucked, we bucked, we ran, we swam, we thrived, and still we rise.
Why is he giving me?
It took me a minute
Maya,
to know
Maya
that he
is
was
proud.
calling on Maya Angelou.
Right.
I thought that was his natural voice. I was like, wait a minute, this is Maya.
Right.
Yeah.
We
It had the nerve to have Wade in the Water, the country version in the background. Fade.
Yeah.
Fade
in the water.
Oh my gosh.
There's
what
another
gotta
one I
give us.
saw.
We've been putting him out all week long. The genius
Yes.
of our
I'm gonna send you one, Joy.
Just imagine. I was like, whoa. And it was actually kind of cathartic for me at one point. I was
It
like,
was.
wait a minute.
I really love the Good Times one.
Yeah.
Good Times was probably the best. My favorite.
Wait, hang on, because I got that
Especially when
somewhere.
it ended with the Ernie Barnes picture with the chairs.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
Hang on. I got that one too.
I mean, it's priceless.
It was rich.
I think
Ace
I watched that
Bain
one 4 or 5
interview
times.
was mine. Was probably one of my favorites.
Good time, anytime you need a payment. Good time, anytime you need a free. Good time, anytime you're out from under. Not getting hassled, not getting hustled. Keeping your head above water. Making a way when you can. Temporary layoffs. Good times. Easy credit rip-offs. Good times. Stretching and surviving. Good times. Hanging in a job. Good times. Ain't we lucky we got 'em? Good times.
I sent you one, Joy.
Where'd you send it?
I sent it messenger and text. Wasn't sure which would be easier for you to get.
Messenger. Okay, what was it? Because I might have some of it already queued up.
It's the fight, but I can't remember which song is over. It's the new anthem.
Okay.
It's when all the bros and with their shirts off go running towards the boat.
Mhm.
I think it's what is that? One Day.
Glory.
I think it's Glory.
Oh, Glory.
Oh,
From
wow.
Selma.
I hadn't gotten that one yet.
Yeah, don't forget the auntie. Yeah, and that hat toss was legendary. That is the new.
That's the new rallying cry.
The bat signal.
And so, because I hadn't watched the video, I hadn't watched the whole thing like Sunday. I kept saying, "What are people talking about the hat toss?" I saw memes where it was like, "It's the new bat signal." I was like, "I don't get it." So then when I finally saw it, I was like, "Oh,
yes."
It's just so rich, the entire incident. There's just so much to it. That's why I'm like, did somebody really write this and they just carried it through?
Right.
I mean,
and that's kind of the way when it happened, I was like, "Is this real? This just looks too good to be true. Is this real?" But
because my initial reaction when those white men jumped in was like, okay, I know there's black folk around here. Where the hell they at? Why aren't they on their asses? Because this is not right. There's too many white people on this one black man. Where the brothers at?
And this is what I meant earlier about white privilege and them not having to be aware of their surroundings. It never dawned on them that they were coming into a dock that historically black people tend to have labor-oriented essential worker level jobs, and that we was every damn where around them, and that the cops in that area were going to be black too. Because I saw a video, I didn't download it because I was like, I got too many, but it was a picture, it was a guy pretending to be a cop, and he's just watching like, oh damn, oh shit, and just watching the fight, and then he pulls out his phone, he's like, oh shit, and then he's like, don't hit it with the chair, don't hit it, goddamn. Now I
gotta get involved.
But I don't understand why they didn't understand that there was so many of us there. There were that entire class reunion, all the black workers on the boat.
It doesn't resonate with them.
45 minutes.
That's their privilege. That's the benefit they have of not having to be aware of their surroundings to do whatever they want to do with little to no impunity whatsoever.
But
because that's the way they walk through life.
Yeah, but to his point too, Tomiko, there had been, I want to say, a rally maybe a couple of days before.
Yes, there was a Trump rally.
Yeah, he had just left.
He got them gassed
they were
up.
feeling somewhat emboldened. You know, the rhetoric is really strong from what I hear at those rallies. So they
and that Jason Aldean tried in the small town bullshit got them worked up too.
Yeah,
right.
Yes,
you do understand also that actually was a slave port also before it was riverfront.
That was one of the ports.
So in my mind, I was like, the ancestors really coming back at y'all fourfold.
Yeah. I got the video that Tomiko sent. I'm gonna add it in here, and here we go.
Undo your volume.
Long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will.
Wow.
It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. 'Cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. I go to the movie and I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me don't hang around.
Wow.
See, the two things I take from that is the white woman who jumped in, who gets thrown into the river, and then those two white boys at the end who run up, the one in the beige shorts. If you catch the other angle, after he gets hit twice, he decides to turn and jump in the river voluntarily. Those are the two things that actually get me with that one right there. Because if you
I've seen the end of that video.
Thrown in, and you see him like, okay, I've been hit too many times, I'm out.
Yeah.
Now, Joy, I know that you've scoured the internet and you've seen a lot. Have you heard or found anything that shows that any of those workers were fired?
No,
I
haven't seen anything.
Okay.
No, and there shouldn't be.
They shouldn't.
And I think again, they did not realize where they were. And there's so much footage that shows this black man trying to do his job, trying to reason with them, trying to defend himself and then finally saying, you want to go, let's go. A one-on-one fight, he still would have maybe been reprimanded, but it was a one-on-one fight. And then when they all jumped in, and there's a lot of people making this point, let's not forget it's Alabama, right? And they had no problem jumping a black man trying to do his job in broad daylight, kicking him, punching him, taking him down, elbow and all that kind of stuff. They would have put him in the hospital if black people hadn't stepped in. And we are still, even though it was 2020, we are still fresh off. Y'all ain't about to kill another black man in the street, especially not you bunch of rednecks off this blow up floaty boat. Hell no.
And has Alabama made lynching illegal yet?
Yeah,
I don't believe they have.
It's a federal crime now, so it doesn't matter if they did or not.
But I just think to the point that it might still be legal in the state.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Tennessee is trying to put it back on the books as a way of enacting the death penalty.
And this is still the state who's like bucking at the Supreme Court ruling of redrawing another congressional district to benefit black voters. So there's a lot of resistance in them to change. It just is. In fact, Joy, what was that one town where the guy was elected mayor?
Oh,
That's
Lord.
in Alabama too.
Don't get me the line. But yeah, and has not been able to do his job as mayor of the town he's in because they won't even let him in the building.
Yeah.
How ridiculous is that?
Yeah.
But I mean, this is par for the course, because let's not forget they murdered a majority of black office holding people after Reconstruction in 1866, 67. So the idea that we can't achieve, the idea that we can't hold office and that we don't understand we can't self-govern, all of this is a lie, because they kill the people that were doing it and then bury it, don't talk about it, and then tell us that the history is different than what we know and have seen. Not to mention, you know, some people say, well, how come? Because we all, I believe, have parents and grandparents that would share this kind of stuff with us. But if you think about going through something traumatic, you all have been through something traumatic in your life. You don't want to talk about it no more, right? And so there's a lot of things that happen in black communities that our grandparents were just like, it was 1924, 23, 22, 21, 1919, 1913, 1865. We don't want to talk about it. We just want to move on with our lives and make the best that we can for our kids. And so some of that verbal history wasn't passed down because it was reliving and re-traumatizing people that they didn't have therapy. They didn't know how to deal with emotions. They just don't talk about it. And so the only narrative that was put forth was the bullshit you would see in the newspapers that were owned by white media, because black newspapers were also burned.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. America being America.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, it's the same narrative. I think that, and I can say that I fell into the trap of believing everything that I saw on TV when it came to motherland Africa. You know, all you saw was the fighting and, you know, the poverty.
Right, and the bone in the nose and the fly in the eye.
Yeah, that how rich it was, and still is.
And then, and I hate to admit this, but you know, a lot of us were scared, rightfully so.
Yeah.
So we like walked that very fine line of not trying to instigate anything because we just wanted to get home. So a lot of us did live in fear because, you know, a lot of the rebel rousers, they were like, you know, people outside of our little small communities that we had faith in, and we thought they would come save us. But as far as getting out there, doing the work ourselves, a lot of black people were very scared to do so out of survival, and you get it. And that's why that cycle went on as long as it did. You know, you don't want to see anybody that you know hanging from a tree, so you just get along just to get along.
It's one of the reasons that we have something like what we today call respectability politics, because the younger generations are like, I'm not going to conform to their ideals because I don't have to. That is a form of privilege in and of itself, because of the things that our grandparents and our parents, their great grandparents, that we now call respectability politics. You know, pull your pants up, be presentable, speak well, blah, 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 have a name that sounds basically American born or whatever. That was survival tactics.
Yes, it was.
And they're trying to tell us that, and our kids and the grandkids that, because that's what they knew to do to survive. And now that we do have some level of protection, sometimes, you know, a lot of these black kids out here, like, I hate the phrase, I am not my ancestors, because
oh my God, you're in my mind. Because I literally was sitting here, I was like, I get incensed when people say I'm not my ancestors. I said, no, you are. And because your ancestors had the strength and the endurance to be able to maintain despite the degradation they endured on a regular basis, you are able to raise your hand and fight if you choose to. So yeah, you are your ancestors, and don't disrespect.
Let's remember, don't be disrespectful. Let's remember that one of the reasons that Tulsa's Black community green was burned to the ground was because they tried to, some white woman, you mentioned this earlier, accused some Black man of flirting with her or saying something untoward to her, just because she didn't have nothing in her life. She wanted to start some shit. And it worked. They arrested him. And then a white mob, including the white police, came to the place, the county house where he was being held, wanted him to be pulled out so they could lynch him. And Black people stood in front of that with their own arms and said, "You will not. He will get a fair trial." Yeah. Scuffle happened. Shots went off. We don't even know who shot what, but a white man was shot. He wasn't killed, but he was shot. Right. And the next thing you know, not only did they come back and shoot everybody in that town, they burned it to the ground, and the planes from the neighboring village dropped bombs. By the mayor allowed this. It was sanctioned. They bombed Tulsa. It wasn't just something caught fire and everything burned because it was wood. They bombed the shit out of that place because they didn't like the fact that Black people were standing up for themselves. So any idea, we can take it all the way back to Nat Turner, any idea that you might have that Black people have not been actively resisting oppression since we were brought here is wrong. And it is exemplary of your inability to separate white fiction from Black reality. Go talk to your grandparents.
Right. We've never been
those banned books.
Yeah, or read one of them banned books. Find out why the caged bird sings, damn it.
Right.
But I got more for you. So I want to show
you. Tell me you got the Ace vein loaded.
Say what?
Please tell me you got the Ace vein loaded.
Wow. I forgot about the Ace vein one. Did I send
that about the Ace vein? Ace vein is your boy.
What?
I sent it to you in IG. I know. It was earlier today, though. I thought you would have got it over by now.
No, I don't have it. So I'm gonna need you to
I got you.
Send it back again. Because I'm looking for some other stuff now. So, but one of the other videos that I have here, while he's doing that, there's a couple more I wanted to play. I love this one.
Move your boat. I'm not moving anything.
All at the steel chair.
I'm gonna tell you why I showed that, because it was a perfect combination of the nerd shit that I like, anime, and the folding chair, and Black people just being super creative, and it was different than everything else that I saw.
But it's the dollar store wig for me, like.
Right.
But it's the best way to impersonate them. The cheap hair works.
I tried because I was like, I clearly know who you're imitating. I get it.
Oh God!
I sent it to you in Messenger.
You sent it to me in Messenger? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. While I'm pulling that up, so you know I'm a big fan of Lene Vinay. So if you know her series Parking Lot Pimpin',
yes,
she has turned that into a whole empire, and I love her for it. She's a Spelmanite as well. Yeah. I'm gonna play her
and she's
video.
Your sorority sister.
Is she? She is.
She is. Yeah.
Forgot about that. We did grab her up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I'm gonna let this play while I go look for the video that James just sent me, because Ace Vane is another one of my favorite YouTubers. So enjoy Leneezy's latest video.
They say enough is enough. Why rough and get stuck? Why nut? It's a mud. Why nut? If you butt, why? I need cookouts on August 5th for the rest of our lives. Mark your calendars. I need kids in the unhoused getting free haircuts. I need step competitions and JSET battles in a neighborhood near you. They wanted to put white people on the Juneteenth flyers? Cool. Because this one's for the niggas. Strictly for the niggas. This one's for the niggas. What? The real niggas. Y'all already know what I'm talking about. Them shirtless boys? Skip to their loo. Aquaman said I will cross the ocean for you. Woo! And calling that boy Scuba Gooding Jr. is nuts, and somebody need to tear your ass up. I personally favor calling it the Ballad of Montgomery, and let me tell you why. Number one, let's talk about the dock that man worked on. Emphasis on worked. That black man labored for a commercial company derived from the ancestral grounds where black people were commercially traded on the Alabama River. The staff on that steamboat labored on a vessel that literally carried enslaved people and dropped them off at said dock to be sold and separated from their families. Oh, but the violence! What Chris Tucker say? I don't give a fuck. Look here, let me tell you something. We are elated. We are ecstatic about this footage. And contrary to popular belief that black people are inherently violent, so we would just want to see other black people be violent, no, we're happy because we got to see other black people be free. Glory. Black people free to defend themselves, free to meet every action with an equal and opposite reaction, free to come to the defense of one another, free to express their rage. It is as much cathartic as it is revolutionary. I could literally cry. And for them to do it so freely without the threat of dying is soul stirring. It ignites the joy down in my heart. Nonviolence was the most effective option in the mid-1900s because hanging was a sport. It was a pastime, period. And the judge, the jury, the executioner, and the police took part in the hunt. Nonviolence has functioned as a barometer for propriety and decorum for so long that many of y'all have confused what was once a strategy for intentional passiveness. When ain't nothing about us ever been meek. White people have actively tried to convince you that violence does not get you anywhere, all the while using violence to get them everywhere since 1492 because they dread the day you choose to wield violence against them. Talk to them. Now, with that said, ain't nobody telling y'all to go around cracking heads, Unc. Because let's not act like y'all wasn't lucky that nobody had no guns out there. And back to you, Unc, because I understand that you've been waiting on this moment all your life. But the fight could have gone longer if you did not whack-a-mole that lady. The gender ratio was doing perfectly fine until you went in on the overkill. Which brings me to my favorite part of the whole video. I don't want to ever hear y'all talk about black women don't support black men ever again. Because not only did my sisters get a few minks on them white boys, but they kindly peeled every single white woman off of y'all and took the miscreants to task so y'all didn't have to put your hands on no ladies. And here's the thing, if you missed it, the reason why so many people flocked to the hat signal, why old boy crossed the ocean for us, was not just so they could get a few licks in on this gloriously historic day. It was because if nobody jumped in, those 4 white men would have killed that security guard and or severely hospitalized that man, leaving his life and the people in his life severely impacted. And this is what we mean when we say Black Lives Matter. The entitlement of white people has been so pervasive that Black Americans have had to choose to play small. They have had to choose to turn the other cheek, have had to choose to reverse the natural flow of outrage for survival, storing it in the pits of their stomachs, compartmentalizing in the most fragile parts of their brains, so when it does leak out, it usually never makes it to the people, the channels, the institutions that deserve their rage, but hits oh so wrongly on the people that surround them. And even then, choosing to play small doesn't always save them. Now, I know this event will do nothing but embolden the good old boys in the small towns around the lynching sites with Jason Aldean that would have wanted to kill us anyway, but hopefully it'll knock some sense into the Karens and Kevins that never really wanted to smoke in the first place. Because what Stokely Carmichael say? All the scared niggas are dead. I'm supposed to be on vacation, damn it. Carter, let's go. We're out of here.
I love her with my whole heart.
I do too. I was on the radio this past Monday, KGLH out here, and I was really, really encouraged by what I was hearing from a lot of people around the LA area. And they are using this as a soft kickoff for the election next year. It sort of like galvanized them for some reason. I guess the threat of living in a world where behavior like that is normalized. Because let's face it, guys, we have people in office right now that would have turned a blind eye to that. And it would have been a whole new different story. Mm-hmm. We would have been the ones that would have been in jail.
A black mob attacked an innocent white woman with a chair. So, that'd have been the whole story.
People, I think it was just another eye-opening account and, you know, just a little foreshadow of what this world can really, really be like if we just let the wrong person govern this country. So I'm just kind of glad to see that people are sort of like flipping it like that and just using it as a, I don't want to say a fundraising, but, you know, just more just to get out there, folks, because this could be our norm if we don't fight against it.
If we don't fight against it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, your people out here talking about how I'm pulling up to his house and he don't answer the phone. Clearly, they were already out of white chairs.
She got a black chair.
Right.
She had what she had in the house because we have black chairs in the house. We don't have white ones.
Right. Maybe it's color coded because she was going to a black person's house, so she got a black chair. But yeah, Vera, not only is this a teachable moment, but like that dude on Instagram, another satisfying racial moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And homie's like losing all kind of cash. There's one of those guys who like has like a convenience store, I'm hearing.
Yeah, and it shut down. There was rumors that it burned, but it was shut down.
Yeah. I think he put a video out almost immediately lying, saying that he left. He didn't participate, you know, because it was the wrong thing to do. And he's got a business and he's just trying to feed his family. But you could see him fighting.
Yeah, totally.
But now we'll say, not all white people are a problem.
Right.
And I'm going to show a couple allies that had to get their 2 cents in on this as well.
In Montgomery, Alabama was absolutely Hilarious. Oh, y'all really let Jason Aldean gas your heads up, huh? That was your first mistake. You don't take fighting tips from a fake cowboy who wears bedazzled skinny jeans.
Oh.
I love to see it. You know those idiots were on the boat all day listening to that song on repeat. I can't wait, Bubba, till they try that in a small town. We'll show them. I've never seen a song taken away from a group of people so quickly in my life. You had a month. You had a good run.
You had a month. You had a good run.
A month was a good run.
That was it.
She does sound either Latina or New York.
She sounds like she's from New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's definitely not from the South.
Yeah, there's plenty more out there to go see. We're coming up on like a minute, hour 20. James, did you send that video?
I did send it to you.
Where?
Messenger.
Facebook Messenger.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go find it.
But
In the meantime, I got one more for you if I can figure out how to get this in here.
Is this from an ally?
Another.
Okay.
Wasn't the co-captain, not security guard, he's a co-captain. The gentleman, the young man who came over on another boat and brought him, wasn't he white?
Yes, the little young white guy, the kind of pudgy one.
Yeah, the little white. He got hit in the beginning as well.
Yeah, he got beat up.
He actually went in his
totally.
boat to the big boat to get the co-captain to bring him to the dock.
Yeah.
Now that's an interesting thing that you bring up because it reminds me of the movie. What was it? A Time to Kill, where Kiefer Sutherland's character is getting what he deserves, and some buckshot blew back on the security guard that the law enforcement officer that was carrying those two guys to their ultimate prison or what have you. And when he had a chance to testify against Sam Jackson's character, he was like, "You turn him loose." He did exactly what he should have done to protect his daughter. You turn him loose. And I remember because they thought this white guy who was limping and had been damaged by this black person's justifiable rage would turn on that black person. He's like, "Nope, I don't care. I don't care if I don't ever walk right again. He did what he's supposed to be. You turn him loose." And so I feel like this, like I said, we don't operate in monolithic ideas here. So of course there was some people on that dock that absolutely deserved that ass whooping that they got. There were a couple other folks that in the midst of the melee, it did become a color thing. And so he got a couple of licks, but you don't hear him out here saying that he feels like they should all go to prison and blah, blah, blah. He was just like, "Yeah, I got caught for some bullshit." But he still recognizes this isn't right. And when we talk about progressing this country forward, you need people that can stand up and say, even if it is not necessarily in their best interest in the moment, this isn't right.
Yeah.
We should not do that. Yeah. And Vera got with the comments. Yes. His mother swore out a warrant for hitting her 16-year-old son.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she even in her sworn statement is trying to get it a hate crime. She was like, "I heard them and what they were saying."
Yeah.
And we need more of that.
Yeah.
For every form of hate that's out there. So we need to repurpose the "if you see something, say something," and let that be for white people in their own neighborhoods. Because if I cry foul, the justice system is still largely white. And even though it's not technically or it's not in the spirit of the law that I should need a white person to be my bona fide and to vouch for what I'm saying, it helps.
Yeah.
And when we talk about using your privilege for good, that's what it looks like when you're in a position to be heard where I am not. And you know what's right. And even though we're saying the same thing, they listen to you. So I need you to speak up.
But that's always been the problem amongst our white brothers and sisters. Their comfortability is so much more valued than anything else. So when they see something that's wrong, they would choose to err on the side of just being quiet until it blows over, rather than using their voice to fight against it. Especially during Black Lives Matter. I had so many of my white friends would call me, "Well, what can I do? What can I do?" You know what you can do.
Speak up.
Damn grandfather. That's what you can do.
You know
Speak
what
up
I'm
and
saying?
point it out. Call it out.
Yeah.
Don't give me the fake tears.
Exactly.
And don't give me the
tribes when good men do nothing.
And don't give me the closet consolation. Be out front with it. Do the work.
Right.
Post it. You know. But I guess the peer pressure within them is just so. I don't know from example, but I just feel like they just feel it even worse with being amongst their own when they dare speak out against
it really is that sense of I still have to protect my privilege because if I give into this then I lose my status. They know that if I say something about it as being wrong, then I have to. And I'm sorry, I can't. The sociologist, you know who I'm talking about, who often goes to white audiences and say, if you had the opportunity,
you mean Jane Elliott?
Jane Elliott. She'll say, when you want to trade with, well, that means it's wrong. They know. They just choose their comfort. They choose their status over doing what's right because they don't want to take what they have been giving out because they know what they have been giving out.
Absolutely. It's like that movie we saw last year. Jonathan Majors played a black Air Force pilot, and his white colleague was trying to cape up for him, but really wasn't saying anything. And he was like, "What can I do?" He's like, "I want you in the water drowning with me, not saving your own butt looking for a life preserver."
Yeah.
And that's deep.
And that's
so when I talk to about
we don't have. That's a vantage point that we just don't have as Black people. We just don't. You know, no matter how many taxes we pay, no matter what the socioeconomic status, we're pretty much all the same in their eyes. So we can't help but look out for each other.
I mean, tell that to Tim Scott, though.
Yeah.
Well, we talked earlier about people that hate themselves. So, and again, one of the symptoms of hating yourself is going overboard to try to prove to the majority that you are not what everybody knows you are. You see the same thing in the gay community where you got people that are so super homophobic and we like they gay.
Yeah.
You know they are. Yeah. This is the Ace Vane. So if y'all familiar with Ace Vane, he makes fun of the Super Friends and Spider-Man and stuff a whole lot. He is hilarious. I'm waiting for the day that he has his own like licensed trivia show. Like if Marvel was quick with it, they should just let him have license to all their old cartoons because he is hilarious. But this is him talking about as the chair, talking about.
I saw this.
Doing charity. We donating ass whoopers to anybody who needed it. Everybody who ran up, have a seat. Motherfucker ran up, have a seat. Everybody run, have a fucking seat, bitch. Don't nothing fold about me. I fold motherfuckers up. But on some real shit, they lucky my cousin went in there. It could have went real different because, you know, he armed.
God, bro, I be ready to spin, bro.
And he don't play. He made from the same leather Black Air Force Ones made from.
I was in the office when it was going down, but, bro, my cousin know I'm with the sits.
It's real with us, bro. We come from this. My granddaddy was in the sit-ins.
Yeah.
Shit, my grandma was the damn seat Rosa Parks ain't want to get up from.
Don't think because we chairs, we don't stand on business.
We ain't no reserved seats, bro. We in your face with it.
We sturdy over here.
Oh, and that bitch that caught my bro lacking at the Waffle House? Don't think we forgot about you. We on your ass.
And under it.
Bro, what?
I mean, because you got to sit in chairs. I'm pretty sure she sit down
Yeah,
every
bro,
day.
this is not the time. Homeboy picked me up and we just started doing charity.
Doing charity.
Charity. That's right. Charity.
That's gonna be my new
charity. I love it.
Use a little charity.
Yes.
And I saw somebody
that might
say
be my new phrase at work. It looks like you could use a little charity.
Charity, yes.
I think that might be my new phrase at work.
I saw another one that said, what was it? Thoughts and shares.
Oh,
yes.
No. Yes. I'm using that too. I think I got one more that I'm going to show. And this is another ally. I'm not sure how she identifies. She sounds like she's from Louisiana, so there's no telling. But she's funny. Got to give it to her. See if I can put this in.
Tell y'all something. When I saw that brawl down in Alabama, baby, I was cheering my ass off, cheering. I was so fucking proud of the fucking teamwork that took place down there in Alabama. When I tell you, those rednecks got exactly what they deserved. They fucking got what they deserved. And I don't give a fuck how you feel about me. You should have moved your silly ass little boat and let that man do his job. But see, you didn't. And when Unc threw that hat up and said, fuck it, and that was the signal, where people came off the boat at the water from everywhere with chairs, whooping y'all ass, and you deserved every fucking lick you got. And I don't care how you feel about it. And I'm going to tell you this. You better take that shit as a warning. Black folks are sick of y'all shit. So keep doing that shit if you want to. It's going to be more of this shit going on. Your ass going to keep getting whooped because people are sick of your shit. And I'm so happy that goddamn people came together and whooped y'all ass because you deserved it. Every fucking lick you got. That shit, I was so proud. I cheered on every goddamn lick. The gods were shining on.
Thank you, CJ.
CJ
Sorrows.
Hey, she got some Boudreaux. Yeah, Boudreaux Thibodeau. It's something up. It's something EAUX up in there, Gordon.
I love CJ for that. Sorrows.
Cheers. That is the best.
That win. What did Patrice
This has
say?
been fun, Joy.
Say what?
I said this has been fun. This has been great.
Yes, it has. So I think that is everything. But in typical white people fashion, they had to ruin it. And so the last thing I saw was Kevin on stage. Like there was these two cops that wanted to get in on the chair fund, and now we just.
Well, I agree. The joke is over, and we had a good run. I mean, we had almost a calendar week of just creativity unmatched from the Black community. We had great videos and memes. And now the police was like, and when we hit y'all with these, okay, now it's all right. Now that y'all in, I don't want to play no more. Y'all are terrible.
Nope.
Yeah, it's over.
Nope.
It's over.
That's when they found the wobble and all the other things. Like, we don't.
Yeah, we good.
Let's play it
We
out.
know you don't have any culture. Can you let us have our moment? Let us have ours.
That's pretty much when the trend is done. Like white people start doing it. All right, we got to find something else to do.
So I want to shout out my friend Joe Doyle because Joe Doyle has been an ally of mine since 2006. We go way back. He used to be my boss once upon a time. We're still really good friends. He and I have been trading these memes back and forth. And he was like, I don't know if I should be sharing these, but this is funny as hell. And then there was one that somebody else sent him. He's like, I'm stealing this and posted it and not giving credit. I was like, that might be the whitest thing I've ever seen you do, Joe. That's the kind of relationship that we have. And he does watch the show from time to time. So, Joe, shout out to helping me find and pull all this stuff together earlier.
Thank you for being an ally, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
We love you, Joe.
Joy, we had fun.
So on that note, that's it. That's what we have for today. We're spending a little time. I love my friends. I love all of you for being here with me tonight. I love that Tom put in the work to get a whole song produced for the show early on. Right. And Tommy Cole, Chuck, James, Jermaine, thank y'all all for being here tonight. And I just want everybody to know, one of the things we're thinking of doing, because yes, Joe knows. Joe definitely knows. One of the things we're thinking of doing is moving the show off Friday night because folks is outside again. When we started the show during the pandemic, nobody had nothing to do on Friday night. So it was easy to be up in here. And we did poll a lot of our viewers and they were feeling like Thursday night might be a little bit better. So over the next couple of weeks, as we start to get the schedule together again, we're going to give you plenty of notice. So we're probably going to move this show to Thursday night so we can give you your Friday night outside date night time back. All right. But until then, I want you all to know that I am Joy Stevens.
I'm Jermaine Taylor.
I am James Herndon.
And we're the Bowmans.
Charles and
Emeka.
And this has been Steel Sharp as Steel.
Bye, guys.
Yeah. You know what time it is. Crack open that bottle of wine. Grab your favorite glass. Pour a couple of fingers of scotch in it. Get that stick. Light it. And blow. It's time to